Well, we're back with the U Show. Wake up, smile, Sue. Can you believe it? We got Sue back again. She loved the show so much last time that she decided to come back for another show.
How are ya?
And we got a really good topic today. Maybe a little more exciting than the last topic. I don't know. We're going to talk about food.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah, food.
My favorite topic.
Do you have your glasses, Sue?
Yes.
So, we want you to let people know a little bit about food because there's a movie that I recommend. And I have to tell you, if you eat food, no, not any specific kind of food, if you eat any kind of food at all seriously, you need to get this movie from the library or wherever you can get it from. I think it is in the library. I would go buy it because I keep this as a reference. It's called Food. Tell us a little bit about that movie. And you can tell just because it says something on the cover about it.
From the company that brought you an inconvenient truth. Uh-oh. I kind of know what this is about. I'm not sure I even want to see it. I might not look at food the same if I saw this movie. More than a terrific movie, it's an important movie. You'll never look at dinner the same way again. What'd I just say? One of the year's most important films. It might change your life. And everyone should see Food, Inc., I-N-C. Doing for eating what former Vice President Al Gore, an inconvenient truth, did for global warming. Food, Inc. lifts the veil on our nation's food industry, exposing how our nation's food supply is now controlled. Yes?
Hand me that a minute, because I have something to say about it. Did you see this movie?
No, I didn't.
Hand me that 1 second.
But I have a good idea.
Do you know what? What it says on the cover doesn't even sound like the movie. This movie is about food. It's really about food. It's not about politics or anything. But you know what? I'll tell you what happened to me after I saw this movie. I changed the way that I ate. I really did. And in fact, we were just saying that. I think I lost a little weight because I got to fit into my other shirts and pants. It changed the way I ate food. Before I watched this movie, I did tend to eat a lot of fast food.
Is it about the dangers and the brutalities of how animals are taken care of?
It's about more than that. It's really about more than that. It's about where your food comes from. This is about where your food comes from. It's about, they show you where, like say you're having breakfast, and now this is horrible, but say you're having breakfast, you're having ham for breakfast. This movie will show you where your meal came from. Exactly where it came from. And the interesting part is, do you ever go to the supermarket and you see all these beautiful things like, Farmer Green and the farmer and the green pastures on all the packages, and it's natural this, and it's like, they show the picture of the cow grazing in the grass and all. And that's what we think. We think that our food comes from there when we're eating it at home. And I'll tell you what, you really would be surprised. So,
What about the word organic? Doesn't that change things? Doesn't that make it healthier?
Well, you know what? That's what you have to see in this movie. Actually, some organic foods are really good. And you know what? Some of the healthiest people on this planet, would you guess who the healthy people are? The vegetarians. Yeah. Some of the healthiest people on the planet are vegetarians. Because they're eating live. You know what? They're eating live food. Okay, so this is The U Show, and you can reach us at theushow@hotmail.com. We are just sharing information, sharing perhaps life experiences, recommending books, and recommending some videos. And what you are hearing on our show is not the ideas or opinions of any of the staff. And you are on air. There you are. You can see yourself in the camera there, in the video. What you're hearing is just, the show is for information purposes only, entertainment purposes only. So we're not asking you to change your diet. We're not asking you to not eat this and not eat that. You, the viewer, it's all your decision. Only you can say what you're going to eat. So what do you have for breakfast, Sue?
Today I didn't have any breakfast.
None?
Oh, yes, I had a roll with butter. That's all.
See that? And you forgot it. It was
I
so
forgot.
good that you forgot you had breakfast. What do you usually have for breakfast?
Sometimes I have the oatmeal, with
Well,
the fruit. And,
that all sounds healthy. That really
and
sounds healthy.
sometimes I'll have some eggs and sausage.
Ooh, that sounds healthy in a way if you want to eat things that are.
Yeah, but it's good.
It's funny. Sometimes, like when I think of food, I think of there's dead food and there's live food. So the dead food would be
And
like.
don't forget, when you're out there and you're ordering foods, when you're ordering foods on the outside,
Yeah,
you really
yeah.
don't see one. You really don't want to see who's handling them.
That's
And
true.
you might not ever
And
go
we
to a
want
fast food place again.
We want you to know that you should write to us at theushow@hotmail.com. And we're usually on Saturdays at 12:30. And if you're not on at that time, do check the channels at other times. We're on Time Warner, Verizon, and Cablevision. So if you were going to have your perfect, absolute perfect breakfast, say you had time to do it and time to plan it, and you really wanted to have a good, healthy, perfect breakfast, what would you have?
I love French toast.
Is that healthy?
I don't care.
With how much syrup?
No, actually, I put a little bit of vanilla extract or almond extract in the egg batter before
What
I
is
dip it.
what is
Then I
almond?
sprinkle
What is almond
nutmeg or cinnamon on it.
What is almond extract?
Same as vanilla extract, but it's almond.
Wow. Okay, so there's another food movie that I want to recommend. So if you're only going to get one, I'd say go to the library and see if they have the movie called Food Inc. So who's in this movie? Is there anybody famous in it? Let's see.
I don't know.
Guarantee you'll never look at food the same way, for real. You have this movie, you'll
Can I
never
tell
look at
the
it the same way.
audience the one thing that you have about who you would not order?
Now she's gonna
who you would
reveal.
not order cold cuts from?
She's gonna reveal one of my secrets, and people are gonna hate me for this, but
Well, I'm not mentioning any names.
no, you don't have to mention names, but I guess you could say it
She
if
will
you
not
say it
order
in a-
anything from anyone wearing a mustache.
Well, it's
I could actually almost understand that.
it's not that. It's not
See
that.
them twirling it.
You know
and-
what? Yeah, exactly. You know what? I've gone into places. Where they'd be cutting cold cuts and all, or they'd be serving food and they're using their hands. Sometimes they use gloves and sometimes they don't. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they don't.
But I have seen guys playing with their mustache and playing with their beard, and then the next thing they do is like they're handling the food. And so I made a policy for myself. Like if I want to go buy something and I want to buy, if I want to buy cold cuts, I'm going to go to the counter, and if the guy's got a mustache and a beard, I really prefer that someone else cut the cold cuts for me. Now, you got me in trouble, Sue, because I need to go to the stores and buy
You know
stuff.
who you are.
And people are going to be like, there's that woman that won't order from a mustache guy. Or you know what? It could turn the other way around. It could be like a lot of people be
They
going
just
into
might
the
shave
stores.
it off.
A lot of people be going into the stores and be like, how come nobody's ordering the cold cuts?
Oh, wouldn't that be
Okay,
funny?
I'm not discriminating against people who have mustaches and beards. What I don't like is when they're handling the food and they're handling the beards.
Exactly.
And they're handling the food and they're twirling the mustache, or they're playing with the mustache, and then they're going to cut my cold cuts. I'm like, sorry, that makes me kind of lose my appetite.
That's what I meant before when I was talking about ordering food out. You don't really see what they're doing
You don't.
behind
That's right.
there in the kitchen.
That's right. So I decided, no, I'm not having anything catered. Well, I haven't had anything catered, but anyway. So, what's the next thing on the topic? I was going to recommend the other movie. The other movie is called Fast Food Nation. So
Well, I
if you,
didn't finish reading exactly what that was about.
well, I'm not going to let you
anyway.
read that because we want to talk about it.
Okay.
The one is Food Inc., and the other one is which if you eat any kind of food at all, do you eat any food? So then you need the movie called Food Inc.
I've gotten actually
Now, if
more
you
healthy
eat- if
in
you
the
eat-
past couple of years.
If you eat fast
eaten
food,
healthier.
then you need the movie called Fast Food Nation. That's another movie. Now we're going to talk about more food stuff. Indirectly, it's about money and food. This is kind of interesting. This card was being handed out at one of the festivals. It was a community festival, and I kind of really like what it has to say. You have your glasses. You think you could read this small print here? It's about, giving to people on the street. It's about giving money to people on the street. A lot of times, especially in big cities, you're going to see people with their hands out. They'll be in front of the banks. They'll be in front of the food stores. And in one city, instead of handing out money, they were handing out this card. So we'd like to share the information with you. The information is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing that you hear on the U Show is the idea or opinions of anybody at the staff or of any volunteers at the U Show or at CTV.
Whatever we say, you can take it or leave it.
That's right. Take it or leave it. Make your own decisions. Make your own choices. That's the great thing about being in America. We have choices, and it is not your choice, but I'm going to tell you, you must read this, Sue. Here you go.
I must read this.
You must read that.
Where do you want me to start? Where it says put your change?
Right at the big
Oh, real change, not spare change. Put your change where you can make one. Put your change where you can make one.
Where you can make change, yeah.
Okay. When individuals give spare change to people on the street, they may not know whether the money is buying a sandwich or feeding an addiction. The spare change may actually worsen the condition of panhandlers by enabling them to delay seeking help. Give money where it can be used effectively to those organizations that provide the means to help these individuals move off the street. And for more information, call the SNBA at 614-228-8050 or visit www.shortnorth.org.
Now let me see that, because now this is from another city. This was from somewhere somebody was traveling. But for more information, if you want to help the homeless without handing them money on the street, call 311. Find out where you can, because that's an information service that the city offers.
You know, a lot of the panhandlers aren't really all that bad off. They're just getting off on just seeing what they can do by approaching people, strangers.
You know what I saw once? I was on Flatbush Avenue once, and this really it kind of made me sad, and it made me angry, and it made me look at homeless people in a different light. I saw this big guy. He was like 300-400 pounds. He was a huge guy. And I watched him, and he went around with his hand out like this. And he would go up to these women like you're a small woman, and he'd go up to the woman, stick the hand right in the face, and was begging for money from this woman. But I watched him. And he walked, and he walked, and he passed a guy, and he passed another guy, and then he went to the next woman. And he stuck his hand in his face, and what it was he was intimidating women to give him money. Now, he was doing that for two reasons. He figured a woman is, okay, that's a good touch. She'll give money because they have the heart, and, they feel sorry and all this and that. And the second thing is, he wasn't sure if he went up to a man, what kind of a reaction he'd get. Would he tell him off? Would he shoo him off? Would he yell at him or scream at him? So I thought that was...
also check out on how you dress or how you present
exactly.
yourself. And I pick on people
and
like
I thought
that
also. That was kind of sad, because here he is going down the block, intimidating every woman that he saw. Every woman. And I have to thank God and thank those women that none of them reached into their pockets to give him money. And all I thought was like, why don't you just stop a guy? You pass by two guys. You pass by a third guy. Why didn't you ask the guys for money? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're a guy and you're homeless, ask a guy for money. Don't ask women. Don't ask somebody's mom, somebody's sister, somebody's niece. Don't ask somebody's daughter for money. I'm like, you know what? Ask a guy. And ask a guy your size. If you're a 400-pound guy on the street and you're begging for money, go up to some 400-pound guy and ask him for money. Don't ask the little lady. So, you might be hearing things that are controversial.
There was one on the train, about 6'2".
You were on the train? And
when I was going to work, this happened. I've seen this guy for about a whole year. I don't know where he is now. He goes up and down the train, asking people for money. There's nothing wrong with him. He's dressed perfectly fine, perfectly presentable. Nothing, no physical.
So what was he
nothing
walking?
that I can see. It was nothing physical.
What was he walking up and down for?
Up and down, trying to get money, asking people for money.
You know
but
what?
Yet there was nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
And there was one woman sitting down. She was writing. She was doing her work on the train.
Yeah.
And she had a nice-looking pen. And he reached over to her and said, "That's a nice pen. Can I have it?" So even if he didn't get any money, he wanted her her pen. She says, no. She said, well, I like your pen. Can I have your pen? No, twice. So it's like he was just looking just to see what he can get. Not because he really needed it.
Wow, that's really
A pen, a
interesting.
stupid pen.
Okay, so some of the guys out there are taking advantage of the women out there, and you know what?
I saw him
That's
for
the
the
city
longest
for
time.
you. That's the New York City for you. So anyway, if you just tuned in now, you tuned into the U Show. That's the U Show at hotmail.com. And if you'd like to come and be a guest, you can do a show yourself. Well, within reason. We'll just have to, approve it or whatever. But contact us at the U Show at hotmail.com. Tune in and watch another show on Saturday at 12:30. Or we might be on another time. So, flip the dial at different times and see if you can see the U Show again. We were talking about people begging for money on the street. You know what's a good thing? A lot of times when you talk about this, people think, oh, you're selfish and you don't feel sorry. You give to organizations. That's where you give. You want to donate something? Donate to the Red Cross or to the United Way or to the Salvation Army. That's how you help the homeless. That's how you really help the homeless.
But do these homeless know about those places where they can go?
Oh, yeah, they know it. There used to be a guy who stood in front of the post office. There was on Flatbush Avenue, there was a post office, right? Just off near Flatlands.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy, a skinny little guy, used to stand out there all the time, and he would just stand out there begging for money. The people come in and out of the post office. This guy stood there for years. And as a general rule, I don't give money to people on the street. But I felt bad for him this one
Does he
time.
have white hair?
No,
Whitish gray
no,
hair?
I felt bad for him. So listen to what happened. I felt bad for him this one time. And it was freezing, freezing, freezing cold out. And I broke my rule. I'm like, oh, I'm going to give to somebody who's on the streets. I went and got him a cup of coffee. I figured he could drink the coffee and he could get warm. And at the very least, he could put his hands around the cup and get his hands warm. So I go over and I give this guy who's begging for money a cup of coffee on a cold, freezing day. Do you know what he did to me?
What?
He said, no, I don't drink coffee. You want to know something? I didn't drink coffee either at the time.
Why didn't you ask him if he wanted tea or coffee?
You know what? I didn't drink coffee at the time, but I know it's like if I was homeless
Specific.
and if I was standing on the corner for 2 years.
Someone that's
Exactly. And if I was standing on the corner for 2 years and somebody brought me a hot cup of coffee and I didn't drink coffee, I'd look at that person. I'd say, thank you so much. Thank you for thinking about me. And I would take my hands and wrap my hands around that hot cup of coffee and thank God that I had something to keep my hands warm. And that's the difference between a giver and a taker. So you're watching the U Show. Are you a giver or a taker? If you want to be a giver, come and be on our show. Write to the U Show at hotmail.com.
Yes, please give someone
Come
else a
give
chance
your
to
opinion.
read.
Yeah, give someone else a chance to read. I'll treat you a little bit better than I treat Sue. She's one of our regulars. And she could take it. Can you take it? Well, let's see. We got about 10 more minutes of the show, and we got some things to talk about. So far, where did we go? We talked about
What's next?
food, and that brings us to the topic of being a vegetarian. Sue, do you know what a vegetarian is?
Yes, my daughter's a vegetarian.
Is she a real vegetarian or a fake vegetarian?
I believe she's been doing pretty well for about 5 years now.
Yeah, so what does she not eat?
She eats fish. She doesn't eat
Wait
any
a minute,
meat
wait
at all.
a minute, wait a
Fish
minute.
and
Wait.
vegetables.
Fish has
You
a
can have fish
fish-
if you're a vegetarian.
Wait a minute, fish has a face though. I thought vegetarians didn't eat anything that has a face.
There are some people that eat fish.
But I
They
don't
just
know.
don't eat any meat
I don't
or
know. I don't know if they're vegetarians though, are they?
eggs and
Are they?
stuff like that that comes from a fowl. And
Let me ask you something. Anybody out there who's a vegetarian want to come and talk about the topic? Contact us today or tomorrow or next week at your earliest convenience. Okay, so she eats fish and she eats vegetables?
doesn't eat any meat anymore.
No meat.
No.
So I'm going to give you some helpful hints, and the way I'm going to help you is, a lot of people, they feel bad for the animals, and yet they still have an urge to eat meat. So there's ways you can help yourself and help the animals, too, at the same time. You don't have to be a vegetarian. You could be what I call a half a vegetarian.
I think
Or
you
a
meant
quarter-
when
a
you
quarter-
asked. When
a
you
quarter
asked, I think you
vegetarian.
meant vegan. I don't think they eat fish, do they?
Yeah, they don't eat hardly anything, vegans.
They just eat
Yeah. But I'm not
straight
talking about
vegetables,
that.
No eggs or anything like that.
I'm talking about half a vegetarian, I termed this half a vegetarian or quarter vegetarian. So here's what you do. You feel concerned for the animals. You really don't want to eat the animals, but you really do want to have your bacon in the morning or you want to have something in the afternoon, a burger or something,
Mm.
and you could still do that. You could still care for the animals.
Who
Here's
eats
how you
burgers
can.
in the morning?
Are you kidding? I used to eat burgers for breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing that people got about food. They got misconceptions about food. You can eat food at any time. You can eat meat in the morning. You can eat eggs at night. You can eat candy in the afternoon. You don't need a time to eat food. I mean, what happened when people were put on this earth and we were like cavemen and all like, I'll bet they ate burgers in the morning.
Did they have spatulas?
Probably not.
Burgers
I
in
don't
the
know.
morning.
Any
No,
caveman
they just
out
ate
there?
any kind of slab of beef, any kind of meat they could find. They didn't care about shaping it into a burger.
Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, so we got about 8 minutes left of this show. Let me finish telling people how to be half a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
The way you do is that you pick a day or 2 days or 3 days. You got 7 days in the week. So that means you do not have to eat meat on 7 days of the week. Pick a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you say to yourself, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I am not eating any meat. I'm not eating any fish. I'm not eating anything with a face. I'm not eating anything that has a mom. So on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you eat vegetables, you eat rice, you eat pasta, you eat fruits, you have watermelon. That's what I do. I'm like a watermelon freak. It's like you sit me down with a watermelon, and that's gone.
I know that
So-
about you since you were a kid. I know that.
I know. I probably am the only kid in Brooklyn who actually ate 3/4 of a watermelon all by herself. And that's the key. And didn't get sick from it. So it just goes to show you that eating fruits and vegetables is healthy. And on that note, I'm going to give you the disclaimer. Don't do what I did. If you're a kid and you're listening, do not eat a whole watermelon. I was able to do that, but you might get very sick from it. So anything you hear on the show is for entertainment purposes only, and nobody at CTV is responsible for it. Any of our opinions and ideas are not the opinions of the staff of CTV or volunteers.
I agree that.
But
it
I
is-
still ate a whole watermelon.
You mean a whole?
Yeah, and you know what? Nanny used to. You
watermelon.
know what? Nanny used to get the watermelon, and she used to cut it in half. I was like 8 years old, and you can't blame Nana though, because I was like skin and bones. You never know it from now, right? I was skin and bones, and I think my grandmother thought like, any food that we can put into this kid is going to make her healthy. So she would get a watermelon, and she knew that I love watermelon. She'd cut it in half, and then she would cut it like in quarters. So you have 4 pieces to the watermelon, and I would eat the first piece.
Just didn't think
And
any
then
kid
I
can
would-
eat an entire watermelon.
Then I would eat the second piece. I remembered eating 3/4 of the watermelon. 3 full quarters.
Jeez.
And then my grandmother said, "Nah, I think you had enough." So yeah, all you vegetarians out there, or all you meat eaters who do want to help the animals, who do want to be kind, you do not have to go cold turkey, as they say.
No, I was
You
just
can-
thinking that.
So you can pick a day, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and not eat meat on those days. If you're really stubborn, you could pick one day and say, okay, on Thursday, I'm not going to eat meat.
It's also
what
healthier for
about-
your body to just cut down on the meat a
But
little
what about
bit,
what about you,
You
Sue?
don't have to have it every day.
Are you up to the challenge, Sue? Are you up to that
Yes,
challenge?
I'm up to that challenge.
You-
I
the
don't-
challenge
I don't
is-
eat meat every day.
The challenge is, so how many days a week do you think you eat meat?
Maybe once or twice a week.
You
Maybe
only
not
eat it-
even.
Do you know what? You're almost a vegetarian. So you eat
I
it twice?
don't eat it that much.
Twice a week?
Yeah.
I bet you eat it more often than that.
No, I really don't.
I don't know. I've heard you telling me you made sausages and then you had meatballs.
I
You know
had
that's
breakfast.
meat.
Yes,
yeah?
I had a breakfast.
And you
but
had
you
meat
know
with
how
the
long it was?
breakfast?
Maybe months since I had sausages with my eggs.
Oh. So you're down to 1 day a week or 2 days a week?
Some weeks vary. Sometimes more.
Come on, we're trying to pinpoint you here. 1 or 2 days a week you're
It's
eating
hard
meat.
to pinpoint.
Okay,
I'm
so
trying to remember whether I had it at all this whole week. I don't believe I had meat all week so far.
really?
Right.
We have to get you some meat. I'm just kidding.
I've cut down quite considerably. I used to eat the chicken cutlets and hamburgers and the cutlets have been down to once every couple of weeks.
Well, you know
So-
what? We are getting down to about 4.5 minutes to the show. I do want to show you that this is produced through the facilities of CTV. And what you hear here is not the opinions of CTV. And I do want to tell you that if you do want to write to us, you can write to us at theushow@hotmail.com. There you go, theushow@hotmail.com. And we're on at 12:30. Sue, what is your favorite part of the show? Be honest. Be honest. What's your favorite part of the U Show? You could say it. It's all right. You could say it.
I love the way you just mix things up.
know
Never
what?
know what you're going to talk about next.
I like that too. I think that's
Yeah.
I like that too. Remember, Saturdays at 12:30. Watch the U Show. So, what's the part that you hate most about the show?
There isn't any parts that I hate about the show. I don't hate any parts of the show.
None at all.
No.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you something that's really good for food. This,
The only part that I hate, really,
what?
is that the last couple of minutes, my upper lip starts to sweat because it gets hot under here.
And what about the food itself? I mean, do you get hungry talking about food?
No.
Not
No,
at
you
all.
just, I've learned that you just have to eat right and you'll be content for the rest of the day.
Well, you know
can do
what?
so.
The holidays are coming soon, and I want you to tell us a little bit about what you can do for holidays in the way of food that's not meat.
Well, gee, that's kind of hard because when it comes to the holidays, you know everyone makes some kind of meat. Mostly everyone anyway. Except for you vegans and the vegetarians, smart people. Serve up smiles with polar bear cake pops. Is this what you want me to talk about? For the holidays, you don't really have to have cake all the time. You can have, pineapples and, like Linda, her watermelons. I don't know if that's in season, though. All right, she's showing me serve up smiles with polar bear cake pops and these little polar bears that are made out of cakes. And I don't know what she wants me to read about this.
Well, why don't you
because
show the picture?
this is a whole entire recipe here,
Show the picture.
which I'm not going to do. This is what they look like. And they advertise a lot about cake pops on television and catalogs. I really don't bother with it, but the kids love things like this. My daughter's grown up. She's just turned, well, she will be turning 38 very soon. My grandson is 16. And I think he's kind of grown up for this also, but this is good for the 6-year-olds and the 7-year-olds that love to do things like this and help mommy in the kitchen with cookies.
What kind of an idea is it? They're polar bear pops.
Yeah.
Let me see that. Did you show that on
People
air?
love the sugar cookies
There's
around
a
the
picture of the polar
holidays.
bear pops. And where do we get this great information from? We got 51 minutes. This has been produced through the facilities of Staten Island Community TV. Any information you want about anything you heard on the show, write to us. And this great information about the polar bear pops, that comes from a magazine called Women's World. And if you're a woman, you need that magazine. Women's World. And one of the mottos, or one of our last messages we'd like to leave with you is, there's always hope. There's always hope. So we got like 19 seconds of the show. I'm glad you
There's
came.
always hope.
Yeah. This is the U Show.
There is always hope. What part am I reading here?
Whatever you like. You're the guest. You got a second left. Actually, time's up.
Time is up.
Time's up.
That was a nice topic, talking about food. And I have lost 15 pounds since the end of May because I eat healthier. Do we still have time or it's over?
Time's up.
Oh, good.
Next show. Next show is going to be interesting. read from
Because
there.
that was too much to read for the last couple of minutes.
I
That
didn't
there.
want you to read. Just when I can do something like that, just read like the topics and give your ideas. Like just read the top thing.
What are you speaking about on the
I
third
gotta
show?
give him another DVD. I'll let you know as soon as we start the show.
You don't know?
No, I do know.
Oh, don't forget your karate
I do
jacket.
know. I like when I surprise you.
Don't forget your karate jacket.